Noctisma, Zarathustra. Thus spoke Zarathustra, a book that burns like fire in your hands, that dances upon the ruins of ancient temples, a book as much poetry as philosophy, as much storm as stillness. Imagine a lone wanderer upon a mountain peak, the sun rising over valleys filled with mist. He has been up there for 10 years, listening, waiting, ripening like wine in oak barrels. And now he is ready to descend. Nietzsche did not want to give you answers. He wanted to set fire to your questions. He wanted to tear down the walls you built around your soul, not to destroy you, but to let in the light. And now, 140 years later, his words still echo through time, like bells in a cathedral that was never finished. We can read him as an invitation, a golden invitation written in lightning and thunder, an invitation to the most dangerous adventure of all, to dare walk upon the trembling rope he calls man, to become more than comfortable, to become a creator of new values, a dancer at the edge of the abyss. Stay with us. You will listen, you will feel, you will doubt, and you will hope. And perhaps, at the end of this path, your own road toward the Overman will begin. Man as a bridge and the last man. Man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Overman, a rope over an abyss. You're not standing on solid ground. You are balancing on a thin, trembling rope. Beneath you, the abyss, black and bottomless. Behind you, the animal, safe in its instincts, asleep in innocence. Ahead of you, something you can barely see through the mist. The Overman, shining like a star you do not yet have a name for. Nietzsche whispers, man is not a destination. Man is a transition, an experiment nature is making with itself, an unfinished poem writing itself as it falls through space. But there is a danger, a sweet and creeping danger. He called it the last man. Imagine a world where all striving has ceased, where comfort is God and safety is gospel. Little people with little dreams, blinking at the sun like gnats. We have discovered happiness, they say, and smile their empty smile. Their love is small, their hate is small, even their joy is small, dosed like a pill you take at night. But you, listening now, have already chosen something else. By being here, you have said no to the poison of the last man. You want to walk the rope. You want to risk the fall, because you know deep down that a life without risk is no life at all. Come here. Let's think for a second. Where in your life do you live as a bridge? And where do you risk becoming the last man? When do you feel most alive? Is it not when you dare? But what happens when the very ground of all meaning disappears? When the heavens go empty, That we will explore next. God is dead. God remains dead. And we have killed him. The words fall like thunder in a church. But listen closely. This is no triumph. It is a warning written in blood and tears. Imagine a cathedral, 1,000 years old, whose pillars suddenly turn to dust. The roof does not crash down with a roar. It dissolves like mist at dawn. And there, in the empty space that remains, stands man, alone, naked, trembling. Nietzsche saw it coming. He saw how the old truths, the sacred anchors that held souls in place, began to rust and crumble. God, not just a figure, but the very foundation of meaning, morality, hope, vanished like snow in April. And what happens when heaven goes empty? First comes vertigo. You or your surroundings start to turn. Nihilism, pointlessness yawns like a black hole beneath your feet. All is permitted, whispered the darkness, for nothing matters. Why be good when goodness is an illusion? Why strive when the universe is indifferent? But wait, in this terrifying space of nothingness, in this cosmic silence, do you hear it? It is the sound of freedom, pure, unbound, terrifying freedom. When God is dead, when every ready-made answer has burned to ash, then only then can man begin to create, no longer as God's child, but as his own origin, no longer following commandments carved in stone, but carving new values into the flesh of his own heart. The emptiness you feel is not a grave, it is a womb, a chance to be born anew, this time through your own will. Come here, let's think again for a second. Which values in your life are truly yours, that you yourself have set on paper? And which are merely inherited shadows? For instance, a child who grows up in a family with a lot of shame may inherit a shadow aspect of shame, even if the child has done nothing. Or culturally, do you feel that you are burdened by inherited cultural shadows, such as injustice? Think of one value that makes you alive. Now think of one burden that is not yours. What happens if you let it go? But when the old values are gone, what drives life itself for you? The will to power. Where I found life, I found the will to power. Look at a seed breaking through asphalt. See how the river gnaws through the mountain, patient and relentless. Feel your own heart beating, not just to survive, but to conquer the next moment. Nature already does what drives results. It does small steps. No matter how impossible it is for water to gnaw through rock, it still does it and in the end succeeds. This is the will to power. But forget what you think power means. This is not about ruling others. That is the dream of the weak. The true power, the fire Nietzsche saw, is something more beautiful and more dangerous at the same time. It is the runner pushing beyond pain and finding ecstasy on the other side. It is the artist destroying 100 canvases before painting the masterpiece. It is the lover daring to be vulnerable, tearing down walls stone by stone. The will to power is life's hunger for more life, the wild joy of growth, the refusal to shrink, the refusal to accept. This is all I can be. Here is the revelation. The greatest power is power over yourself. To shape your character as a sculptor shapes marble, or your environment shapes you, and you might not like who and what you become in the end. To overcome your limits, your fears, your smallness, like physical limits, like feeling too weak or tired to do what one wants, or mental limits, struggling to learn something new or not feeling smart enough, fear of failure. What if I try and it doesn't work? Fear of judgment, worrying about what others will think, fear of loss, losing loved ones, stability or identity. Or do you feel invisible in a crowd or unheard in conversation, comparing oneself to others and coming up short, feeling like just one person against global problems, climate, injustice? You already carry the power to overcome these negative feelings. Every time you overcome yourself, every time you grow, you live the will to power. You do not need to wait. It is already in you. When do you feel the will to power? Or have you succumbed to your feelings of weakness like limits or shadows? When do you feel like the conqueror of your own territory? What obstacle stands before you now? Can it become your fuel? What in you wants to grow? But what if every action, every triumph, every mistake had to be lived again and again forever? Would it change how you live? There is a force within you that you may never have dared to feel. It exists in everyone, no matter how ordinary or weak you consider yourself to be. The eternal return. This life, exactly as you live it now, you must live again and again and again. A demon whispers, every joy, Every pain, every thought, every sigh will return. This moment, these words, even the dust in the sunlight through your window, all of it, again, for eternity. Would you curse the demon, or would you smile and say, "You are a god, and never have I heard anything more divine"? This is Nietzsche's ultimate test. Do you pass his test? The eternal return is a mirror that shows your soul its true face. If every moment returns forever, every choice becomes monumental. That night you wasted in bitterness, do you want to live it 1,000,000 times? That conversation you avoided out of fear, do you want to flee from it forever? But what about that kiss, that laughter, that moment you felt truly alive? Would eternity be too short to hold all that joy? If you can live so that you would gladly repeat every moment, then you have already found meaning. What in your life would you gladly live again and again? And what would you change before eternity seals it? But the soul cannot transform through choice alone. It must undergo metamorphosis. From obedience to revolt to creation. That journey begins tomorrow when you wake up. The 3 metamorphoses. First, the spirit becomes a camel, then the camel a lion, and the lion at last, a child. As a camel, you're strong, carrying all burdens. You say, "Load me up," and you carry the weight of traditions, of duties, of commands. But one day the camel rises, its skin cracks, and out emerges the lion. The lion roars, "No!" It faces the dragon called "Thou shalt." Every scale of the dragon bears one word, "You shall." But the lion roars its sacred "No." It breaks the chains. It dances on the ruins of what was once holy. But the lion cannot create. It can say no, but not yes. And then comes the miracle. The lion becomes a child. The child is innocence, forgetting, a new beginning, a sacred yes. It plays new worlds into being. It creates values as roses create fragrance, effortlessly, joyfully. Here is the truth. Freedom is not only the lion's no. True freedom is the child's yes. The freedom to create anew. The freedom to play. Where are you in this story? Camel, lion, or child? What burdens still weigh on you? What no must be spoken? Amor fati. My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, love of fate. But this is not surrender. It is conquest. Amor fati is the art of turning pain into strength, defeat into wisdom, loss into depth. Nietzsche lived this. He was tormented by pain, alone, misunderstood, mocked. His books barely sold. His love was never returned. His body failed him day after day. And still he wrote, "I want to learn more and more, to see as beautiful what is necessary in things." This is greatness. To take every wound and forge it into your armor. To take every tear and let it water new seeds. To take every blow and reveal the sculpture within. This is true freedom. To say yes even to what hurts. To use everything as raw material for your strength. Can you love even what went wrong? Can you thank what broke you? What if you said yes, even to that? And what does your inner child still want to create? I love him, whose soul is lavish, who wants no thanks and gives none back, for he always gives and does not want to preserve himself. Zarathustra descended the mountain not to give you truth, but to awaken your own, not as a savior, but as an alarm clock. He did not love the perfect human. It does not exist. He loved the one who dares to fail greatly, the one who would rather dance and fall than stand still and survive. The Overman is not a destination. It is a direction, a star to navigate by. Not perfect, but courageous. Not with answers, but with the courage to live the questions. You have already begun. Every thought that moved in you, every doubt, every hope, all of it is the beginning of your own transformation. Nietzsche died in madness, embracing a horse in Turin. Perhaps he saw too much. Perhaps he carried too much. But his words burn still. And now they are yours. Not to follow, but to use like flint against steel. To strike sparks. To light your own fire. This adventure you have listened to, it is only the overture. The real symphony begins when you wake up, when you step onto the rope, when you say your first great no, when you create your first true yes. Now the hand is stretched out to you. Join us on this adventure. Nietzsche gave us no map, only a spark. The rest we create together. One last question, the most important. What yes will you speak when you wake up? To yourself, to your life, to who you are becoming. What step will you take when this is over? For you are already on the way, and the path creates itself beneath your feet as you walk. Thus spoke Zarathustra. And now you speak.